Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I thought I'd bring you guys a lumber update video. I know how much you guys love the lumber updates. I would love to bring you guys good news. I would love to say, hey, we have some really good price relief coming. There's going to be availability for everybody come next summer. Everybody's going to be building and happy, and there's going to be plenty of houses started and finished and completed. I would love to tell you that story. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Not over the next couple of months, and I just feel probably not over the next 6 months are we going to see any kind of relief to building a home right now. It's a logistical nightmare to complete a home. And I tell you, I have talked with a few contractors today, and over the weekend when I was down in Houston, I talked with a couple of contractors who, and some of them were actually pretty decent sized home builders. I mean, as far as like the amount of homes that they build. Now, to me, like, somebody who builds 3, 4, 5 homes at a time, that's like a lot to me. I mean, I'm from a small area. There's only 10,000 people in Astoria and 30,000 people in the whole county. So somebody who does 4 or 5 houses at a time, that's a pretty big builder to me. Now, I was talking with some builders down at the Rebel Capitalist who build like 50 houses at a time. And even some guys who build like many more than that, hundreds of houses at a time. But just talking with some of these contractors, they all kind of have the same thing to say, that lead times are killing them. And that the availability of lumber and materials, or just building materials in general, not just lumber, has made it almost impossible for them to do their job and just building a home. I mean, this couple were telling me that they had 50 projects going, and for something like, I think 20 of them, they needed trusses of these projects. That's how far they've moved the projects to. Their truss manufacturer told them that they were 6 months out to get their trusses. And then before they came to the Rebel Capitalist, to that event, and they were speaking to me, they said that they got a phone call from them saying that they apologized. The truss company has apologized, but they will not be able to deliver their trusses to them. And now they have no idea how it is that they are going to build these houses or get them completed. They had nobody else to go to, and everybody else is in the same situation. So they're starting basically trying to figure out the logistics in the middle of a completed home or middle of a constructed home. So this is probably a scenario that is running all over the country right now. And it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me with some of the things that I had been reading leading up to this. I knew it was going to be tough. I did not realize how bad it was going to get. Like, I knew that it was going to be a hard time. But it's easy to see. I just didn't realize how bad it was going to be. Now, let me tell you about some of the plywood here. Plywood, OSB, Oriented Strand Board. This typically would have been something that you could probably ordered as many truckloads as you wanted, and there would never have been any kind of shortage or issue with getting it. It would have been cheap. Now, OSB is almost unavailable. Like the yard that I work at, we don't even stock OSB anymore, the Oriented Strand Board. We only stock half-inch CDX. Okay, if you're not familiar with OSB or plywood, basically when you're constructing a house, you got the 2x4s, 2x6s. This is like the skeleton, and then you got the sheathing that goes on the outside. It's like the skin before all the doors, windows, siding, and stuff like that goes in. That's the OSB, the Oriented Strand Board. It's a cheaper version of plywood. And this is what it says. OSB activity accelerated from busy to frantic as dealers continued to scramble to cover needs. It's just not available. There was a shortage that had taken place prior to COVID. I was doing reports on this back at the end of 2019. In November of 2019, I was reporting on mills pulling over 1 billion square feet of OSB off the market. Then those ice storms that hit Texas, that on top of the already short supply, created an issue with the resin that they use to make this stuff. So now production of OSB is very limited, and there is a huge demand for it. And when the availability is just not there, they switch over to other products, like the half-inch CDX or the other plywoods out there, which means that now there's a huge demand for the plywood. Listen to this. Fir plywood. Fir plywood has seen a consistent trend in recent weeks. Demand has been the trend with limited availability. That's the fir plywood. Southern yellow pine plywood. Supply continues to be in short supply with limited product availability as most mills remain off the market. Meaning you can't even, you call them up, you're like, hey, when can I get a unit of plywood? They'd be like, no, or a truckload of plywood. They'd be like, you don't get any. Sorry, we're off the market. We're not even offering to sell it to you right now. Let's see here, lumber. The western, let's see here, where am I looking? Okay, yeah. The western spruce market has given us another week of unabated upward momentum. And let's see here. Producers continue to be challenged with transportation issues. So that's another issue. It's just like literally just trying to get it away from the mill and to these distribution hubs and lumber yards has been difficult. All right, southern pine. Demand continues to outpace production. They can't make it fast enough. They cannot get it into the pipeline fast enough. Western species, the dry dimension. Prices continue their upward path. Suppliers are citing workforce issues, winter weather, and rising log prices as limited availability to bolster their position. Some mills have lost production as they shut down shifts due to COVID outbreaks. So it doesn't look good here, guys. There is a serious situation when it comes to the new construction market, and not so much getting houses started. Like, you can probably start as many houses as you want. There's probably no issues getting them started. It's getting them completed. That's going to be the difficult thing. Getting the material on site, to be able to get the material in a reasonable time and price, is going to be very difficult coming into the next few months. And I have a feeling that this is going to shut down a lot of the small-time builders. They just will not be able to compete, especially, if the situation like the couple told me about their houses, where the Truss company just flat out just said, I'm sorry, we're not going to deliver you anything. I mean, what do you do? I mean, if you cannot find the trusses to do this house, I mean, you're going to have to hand frame the roof or something. But what if that's not an option? Then what? What do you do? Listen to this. Listen to some of these price increases that are going to be taking place. Roofing. Owens Corning starting in January 31st, 6 to 8% increase. Tamco, another roofing, starting February 7th, an 8% increase. Insulation. All the insulation for, let's see here, DuPont, it looks like, going up 8%, 10% on commercial products. Drywall, suspending ceilings and ceiling panels. Now, not a whole lot in there, but still, they're going up 10-12%. So that's probably a lot of commercial application stuff going up 10%. I mean, it's Masonite. You guys know that company, Masonite doors and stuff. Look at this. Flush interior doors going up 20%. This is all effective January 3rd. So this has already started. Flush interior doors going up 20%. Hollow core interior doors 11%. Solid interior doors 8%. Steel doors and frames going up 11%. Fiberglass doors 11%. Decorative glass going up 14%. Standard glass 10%. All these things are going up. Lead times. Larson storm doors. Storm door stock 4 weeks out. Man, that's not too bad. Special order 16 weeks. 16 weeks if you have a special order size. This is the type of thing that we are going to experience for the next couple of months. And as long as the demand for homes stays elevated and these shortages continue to take place, I can only assume that this logistical nightmare is probably going to continue. And that we are going to have issues completing houses, getting that inventory onto the market. And when you have that problem of getting inventory onto the market, then it's just going to continue to drive the prices up, which is not a good thing. Prices are already elevated. People are already priced out of the market. And this is bubble. This is like bubbling territory. My major concern is that when or if these supply chains and these supply issues begin to relieve, right? When we start getting a relief of this thing, when all of a sudden lead times start catching up to a more consistent, closer fashion, when the prices come down, when you're not waiting 6 months for trusses and they're not canceling them on you, when that moment turns, we are going to see a flood of houses come onto the market. I can only assume that. I mean, there's more houses being started every day, and there's less being completed. That is going to leave a lot of inventory in the pipeline. At some point, that has to come online. They will complete those houses. All right. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.